Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Well, March of 2020 has been annoying to say the least.
Yeah, and you were saying that this month will be good.
Usually March is a pretty good month in trucking. This is when shippers start to stock their shelves in preparation for the summer. But this March, well, it has been a chain reaction of bad luck. So I wanted to make a video about the current market situation. Many of you are just getting started in this industry, and I believe you deserve some insight into this March from hell. Ready? Let's go! So first, let's talk rates. Load rates have gone down, negotiation is nearly impossible with brokers, and there are often less loads than trucks in a market area. This is the worst month since the beginning of 2021. What the heck happened? Well, the story begins in 2020. When COVID hit, the world came to a standstill. People were stuck at home, businesses were being shut down if they were deemed non-essential, and the supply chain was disrupted. All of a sudden, we have people who are stuck at home, not spending their money on things like travel, restaurants, and entertainment. Then came the stimulus checks. So what is the result? Well, people start having thicker wallets because the stimulus checks and limited spending equals a bigger savings account. On the other hand, we have a supply chain that is completely disrupted because of lockdowns. As businesses started closing their doors within the country and overseas, production slowed or stopped completely. On top of that, the factories that did stay open were working at limited capacity because the supply of workers was hindered by this whole COVID situation. So the result is limited production of goods and services. Now, these two things formed a perfect storm. On one hand, we have people now at home with money to spend, but they are reluctant to go and spend it on services and go out because of COVID, either because they're afraid to catch COVID or because they don't like the rules and regulations that come with COVID, such as mask wearing and vaccine mandates and all of that. So these same people are now more likely to spend their money on home entertainment. Instead of going out to a restaurant, why not spend your money on some brand new kitchen equipment and cook at home? So spending shifted from services to goods. Now, this heightened demand for those goods and a limited production of those goods drove the prices up and caused inflation. Now let's get back to the March from hell. This month has brought with it a ton of exciting little gifts. Number one, the relaxation of COVID restrictions. Number two, the rising diesel prices. Number three, a war that might turn into World War III. And of course, the continuing inflation. Welcome to perfect storm numero dos in the trucking industry. Let's go through it. The higher fuel prices mean that people are shying away from spending more money than they have to.
Choose. Do you want that $6 t-shirt or that extra gallon of fuel in your tank?
Then there's that horrific war that is also adding to the inflation issue. And of course, finally, there's the relaxation of COVID restrictions.
How is that not a good thing?
Well, because now people are more likely to go out and spend their money on services instead of goods. Now, unless you have figured out a way to transport intangible services in your trailer.
These are some weird loads. A load of travel to Hawaii, £0. Oh, here's a load of dinner reservations at a steakhouse. What the hell?
So right now we have people who on one hand are scared to spend their money because of the inflation and the rising fuel prices. But on the other hand, if they are to spend money, they will be spending it on things they haven't enjoyed in almost 2 years, such as restaurants, movies, theaters, and travel. In other words, there's a huge decline in consumer spending when it comes to tangible goods, the ones that actually go on a truck. So now that consumer demand has decreased, there are less loads on the market than there are trucks that are willing to transport those loads. And the law of supply and demand tells us that this kind of situation will make the load rates plummet. And that's exactly what happened. Now, those same brokers that I tortured for the past year with my crazy requests are having their sweet revenge on me and other carriers in this industry. And to make things worse, diesel prices are through the roof, eating away at all the profits. Diesel prices have gone up from an average of $3.64 per gallon in December of 2021 to over $6 per gallon in some states like California.
Why is it always California?
Now, what does the future hold? Well, I have no idea, but I can tell you what I think will happen if this trend continues. I think that a lot of carriers will start going out of business. Now, as carriers start going out of business, the truck capacity will decrease. And come summer, produce season, there will be an influx of those produce loads, I hope. And with so many produce loads on the market, there will be not enough trucks to cover them, especially with all the carriers that will go out of business if this trend continues. So the load rates will start going up again. So what advice can I give you? Well, the best piece of advice is go with the flow. And I suggest, if you can, to run 1 or 2 day loads through states like Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Michigan, Kansas, and Arkansas. Then you will be fine. Plus, the fuel prices in those states are below $5, especially with a fuel card. And the load rates for those 1 day loads are pretty good. I hope you guys found this video helpful and that I gave you some insight into the current market situation, and I'll see you all in the next one.